Well, hi everyone, it's Jane at VelocityVet08, and this is the finished video of my spooky Halloween house that I have been working on. And I have done a lot of detail to this house, so it took quite a few videos to make, but there's a lot of people who like to see the entire process, and so the way I look at it is if it's not something that you want to see, you can either skip or you can fast forward. But I did record everything, but there was a small portion that that didn't record, unfortunately. So other than that, almost I would say 95% of it is recorded. So for those of you though who don't watch the process videos and just watch the finished video, I will go through and show you what I did to create this house. First off, the house itself is I believe it's a $9.99 item that you can get through SaCrafters store. There's a ton of Saw stuff on this project because she makes so many awesome Halloween pieces along with everything else that she does. But the house came from her store. It's $9.99 and it's made out of it's like you get, this is not the house, this is going to be one of those organizers that she recently made for paint bottles. But essentially you get, pieces of wood, like, this would be like the base, and then you get some pieces and you build your house. And it is super, super simple to build. I mean, there is nothing complicated about it at all. It is a really easy, you get a base, you get two sides, a back, a front, you get a door if you want to use it, you get 3 pieces of fencing, and you get 2 roofs, and they snap on together with no problem. So if you're somebody who has a concern about putting it together, no worries, it's very, very easy. And it just comes in the bare wood, like I just showed you how that is. And from starting there, what I did was I painted it, and I just painted the outside first, and I used black paint with some texture in it, kind of the texture you would use if you were adding like sand to your walls in your home. It's like a silica based powder, and I just mix it with the paint and then just put it on there, and it adds really some amazing texture. You can see the texture in the paint, and like on the fencing, like in here, you can see it really good. So it just adds a lot of texture and gives it a really neat feel and just a real grunginess, especially when you're doing something like this. So that's how I painted it. And then I also sprayed it, which I'll hold it up here again. I sprayed it with some Lindy Stamp Gang sprays, and it really had a neat effect. In places it almost looked like it rusted. It's really grunged up, really good. I love the color the colors were. And essentially I used a kind of a blackish spray. I used a dark purple. I used a color, it's like white googly gray, googly ghost gray, something like that. And then I used a little bit of a red color and got this really cool effect. And then I also took some of these color box chalk inks. I used these 3 colors throughout this project a bunch. I'll show you the 3 that I used, and they really did some neat shading to these wood pieces. I used Wisteria, this purple color, Gray Whale, which I've destroyed in there, and this was Lipstick Red. And so I used them to get the effect that I did as well, like to add shading, and you can kind of see the shaded areas, and that's, I did that over the webs, the spider webs as well, to give them kind of that gray look. And I used of course the Gray Whale to get most of that, but you can see like the rusty look colors, and that was just from spraying it with the Lindy's. And like I said, I really got some neat shading on here. And I think that that building of color really made a difference in how the project looked and felt and everything. And I liked that a lot. So that was how I did the outside. And the other thing I did, besides the obvious glue strings, I used brick on it. I just did them real sloppy, and these are actual miniature bricks that I got from online. And essentially I don't have the packaging anymore. I use them for my remember when the Oz paper came out with Graphic 45, The Magic of Oz? I used these little bricks to make the yellow brick road. And they're just little tiny bricks. They have even little end pieces, you know, so you can have, like, you know, the little ends around the corner and stuff. And so anyway, I use those just to give kind of a, you know, like a house feel, of course. So there's some bricks up here. I put some in the back, and then on the side over here I put some bricks as well, and then on the front I put them right down here so you can kind of see them, you know, through right there. The way that I did that was I had already done the painting with the texture. And so I just took a little sandpaper and sanded off in the areas where I wanted to do the bricks. And then I used my, my 3D crystal lacquer. And I just put it down where I wanted the bricks to be. And then I just set them where I wanted them. And again, they were very random. They were very sloppily done because I wanted it to be just a really pretty rough looking house. And after they dried, I took some of my texture paste that I would normally use, like with a mask, and I just went over the bricks like I was grouting them and wiped them off. And once they dried, I also sprayed them to get the effect of the colors like I did on the house. Sprayed them with the same colors, and, you know, got a pretty cool effect on them. I really, really liked the way they turned out a lot. And then I wanted... I was going to be using Saw's spiders, but I wanted like little spiders. Bridget at Bee's Altered Design, she was like, you ought to have little spiders come out in the bricks. And I thought, oh, that sounds like a pretty cool idea. And I actually had some little spiders that went with the paper collection I used on the inside. And so I just kind of put them coming out of the bricks, and then I made webs, which I had gotten the idea on the webs from Song, from Creation by Song. She's did a Halloween project that turned out really amazing, and so she had done this with her glue gun, and I was like, oh, that's like, you know, pretty neat to make a web. And so I did that as well. Like I said, I thought her idea was pretty cool. So that was how I got the web effect with the little spiders. And I had been out of the big spiders at that point. I had to order some more from Saw, and she got them sent to me right away. She sent them right out the next morning, and also sent me some extra fun stuff that she had. So I was able to really dress this up with a lot of her products. So once I got the outside done with all those items, on the inside I papered it, and I used the Midnight Magic paper, which is a purple and black collection from Michaels. It's really a pretty neat collection. I like it a lot. I had originally bought the collection to do the wood doors album that I had done using Saw's, you know, her big wood doors that she has, and I had used those for mini album covers. I originally had bought the collection for that to make a Halloween book, and so I just stuck with that paper and put it inside on all the walls. And you're going to see inside here once I turn the lights out. But I put it on all four walls. And on the very back wall back here inside was a picture that was on the paper, and it was two skeleton heads on like on big like almost like little podium things, or like little or like really giant candle holders, something of that nature. That's kind of how they were. And so I melted red wax down, down underneath the skull's head, and I put red crystal eyes, just little bling red eyes in the skeleton's heads, and they looked pretty cool on the paper. So I did that, and then I did cut out, and you'll see inside here on one of the pages there's actually like a woman who's standing under an umbrella, but it's just like a ghostly shadow of it. And she's amazing. Liz Russell had used her also in her Altered Lantern, and she's perfect for making a ghostly scene. And so I cut her out as well, and I backed her with black paper because the paper's not two-sided, and the back of her was going to be in the window here. And so I wanted, for it to be all black and not see the white paper. So I backed it with black cardstock, and that helped give her some stability for standing as well. And then I draped her with creepy cloth like this, with it like a shawl of it. And then in the front of that, I added a big red piece of bling, like it was holding her shawl together. And you can see just through the window right now, you can see the creepy cloth in there that's the back of her shawl, and so her wrap, or whatever you want to call that. So that was kind of how I used the paper. There's two other ways I used the paper line. One, I cut out little maple leaves. I have a little punch for that, and I just wanted to have a sprinkling of maple leaves, like just in this front area, just because I wanted this to look like a spooky walkway that you had to walk through. And then I also used the paper to make the roof, and what I did was I had a punch. It's actually a We Are Memories Keeper punch. I'll show you the two punches that I used. This is my little, which has glue on it, not surprising. This is made by the Paper Studio, and it has a little maple leaf on it. I think I got that at Hobby Lobby. And then this is We Are Memories Keeper, and it's just this like little half circle thing. It's a little different shape. It's more like a thumbprint type punch, and so that was what I punched to do the roof, and I love the way it turned out too. And I just took a couple different sheets of paper so that I would have like different patterns of pieces, and I just punched away and then just mixed them all up and put them on the roof. And the roof comes in two pieces and just snaps on real easy, and so it was very easy to do. And one thing I wanted to point out to you, see how I have it scalloped here? That's not because of my punch. Her house comes scalloped, which is really good. And the reason I say that is this house would be so ideal for like a gingerbread house or a Christmas house. I've had people suggest it would make a good church, and it would make all of those things really, really well. And what's nice is it does have this scalloped edge, which, like I said, would look really, really cute if you were doing, one of those other type of houses. Like, it would be darling with, like I said, gingerbread, that sort of thing. So I just wanted to show you that that's actually how her roof comes, is with that scalloped edge. That's not just, I just followed the scallops with that punch, which worked out fine from that perspective. The other thing I did just before I put the paper on inside here, I had some transparency frames that actually went with the paper line, and I put those in the windows. It made a nice acetate, and they have, it's too hard to see with the lights off, but they have patterns to them. Like, for instance, this one here has little branches on it with a little, couple little crows. And this one up front had some candlesticks, and this one right here has a skeleton head in the corner on the acetate. So kind of some neat features that I can see here in person, and you probably see when the lights are on, but they're not just clear acetate. So I put the acetate on the windows, and then I put the paper down on top. And I think I did it at least twice on a couple of them because I kept putting it on the wrong pages, I kept putting them in the upside down. So anyway, I wasn't paying attention. I do all the gabbing and talking while I'm doing the process videos, and a lot of times I don't pay attention to my crafting. So got that accomplished. And then my husband and I were out one day, and we picked up some straw. We found some where they were at a nursery where they were selling straw, and we asked them if we could have a little bit of what was laying on the ground, and for a craft project, and she's like, take whatever you want. So I just took a couple handfuls of straw, and I had more than enough, and I just cut it up in little pieces, and I sprayed the entire base with that Easy Tack, and that made it all real sticky. And then I put the straw down, and then that made it stick. In the places where it didn't, I just added a little of my 3D crystal lacquer glue. So that worked out pretty well. And I also, in the front yard up here, I made extra bricks, like I colored extra bricks, and I put them down, and I like mixed them with the straw and the maple leaves and everything in front of this tombstone right here, just to give it like an eerie look, like the bricks fell off the tombstone and we're just laying here with the straw and the leaves and everything. And I'll show you that here in a second. So that just made like really a cool area to walk through there. One of the other things that I did was make a bench right here. You can see I made it out of like stir sticks and popsicle sticks, and I just put it in the corner here and put some straw and some maple leaves on it. And then this is one of Saw's spiders, and I embossed it with a color called it's from Cosmic Shimmer. I got it in the UK, and it's called Black Lilac, or Lilac Black, one or the other. I love it. It's a really cool color, and I just covered both sides of the spiders where you were going to see both sides, and you can just kind of see the bench there, just sitting there. It's pretty cool. It's real rickety looking, but I really like the way it turned out, because that's what I wanted, was it to be, just kind of a creepy bench sitting there. So, and then I just used my glue gun to make glue strings for the spider web, and draped them around the edge and everything, and it just kind of turned out good. You can see the back of the bench along the fence line there too. There's another little very elegant piece of furniture I made inside here that you'll see when the lights are on. And essentially what I did was I took just a round piece of chipboard, and then I took 2 popsicle sticks, and I made a cross, and I cut little grooves in them so they would slide together, and just glued it to the round piece on top and propped it in the corner and glued it. And I covered it with a sheer black fabric. I painted the chipboard black, and then I covered it with a black cloth, and I put bottles on top of it that were just like 3 different size bottles that had corks in them, and I just melted a ton of red crayon over them so that the wax would all run down, and the corks actually look like the rest of the candle that still hasn't burned away. So that looks like pretty cool on top of the table. And then it's real dusty on top of the table too, and I'll be able to tell you why here in just a few minutes. This right here, it's hard to see anymore, but this is one of Saw's tombstones, and it was a little taller. I cut it down just so that it would be more proportionate to this project, and it's painted with weathered wood crackle paint, and then just says rest in peace in it. That is used with a marker, and I made a little bit of grass at the bottom of it with pine needles crackle paint as well. And I really like the effect that crackle paint has. And then it has a little spider at the top and a bunch of glue strings and stuff on it just to make it look real creepy. And then on the front here, this is one of her scary cats, and I love these. They're really nice. I went ahead and colored it. I painted it black, and then I colored it with the color box chalk inks, and I put some little red eyes on it. And I tried to put eyes on anything that would have eyes for the most part. The spiders didn't get eyes. And then this tree is one of hers from her collection of stuff that she sells. And this tree could be used for any kind of project. Like if you wanted to have, like you could use this tree on this, with this house in a like gingerbread, type house, and put different, fun things hanging from the tree. You could use this, you could make this like at Easter time and hang, like make little tiny eggs, like colored eggs to hang from it. You could use this tree for a million things. It's not just a scary looking tree, but that was how I chose to use it. And she sent me witches hats, and so I put one of those in there. I embossed it with a Lindy Stamp Gang color. And then this black crow right here is actually normally on top of the tombstone, but I cut him off the top of the tombstone since I was cutting the tombstone size down a little bit. I had to cut him off. Well, I didn't want to waste him, and so I put him in the tree and colored him up as well. And then I just put webs around on the tree. And also outside her houses, you can see this a little better, they come with a light. They have a little light that comes with them, a front porch light, which I think is just darling. And I just webbed around it, because if the house had not been used in a long time, it would have cobwebs like all around that and stuff. So I did that. She also sent me this really cute cut here that says Happy Halloween, and I just thought that was darling. I embossed it, and then I also used some of the chalk ink. I wanted everything to have kind of a ghostly gray feel to it, and so I did that and glued it onto the front of my house, and I really think that's darling. Spiders, I used I think every spider that I got, and said I embossed them, and I just put them in random places around on the house, just to give it, just that scary Halloween feel. I put one right dead in the middle of the window on this one, which I thought looked kind of creepy and kind of neat. And then there's one coming off the roof right here. So those were really fun to use. I really like them. And I put that gray on them as well. So that covers a lot of this lower part of the outside. I did have bats to use, and her bats they have a really great shape to them as well. And I put little eyes on the bats, and I used the different colors to shade them, and so I was really excited about them. And I have them in a lot of random places too. Here, there's one here. I put one so you could see it. Let me pull back here and lift this up a little bit. You can see it behind the cute little ghost right here. And there's a bat on the back, like down here as well, right there. So I had a lot of fun with the bats. And then as far as the roof goes, I didn't want to have to hinge the roof or take the roof off again or anything like that. I wanted to put the roof on and be done with it. And so I was trying to figure out how I would do that and not, like I said, I didn't want to hinge it. I didn't want to be removing it. I didn't want to leave it off. I didn't want to do anything of this. I wanted it on there, like permanent all the time. And so I came up with this idea to make these little chimneys. And essentially I just cut them out of chipboard. And, I just kind of figured out my pitch of my roof, and it was really simple. And just cut, basically a fishtail out of a piece of chipboard. Then I made a square piece for each side, and then another one of these pieces for the fourth side. And I just copied it, did them twice. It was super, super easy. And then I made a square for the top. And you'll see why here in just a second for those of you who haven't watched the process videos. Because if you've watched them, you already know what's in there, but if you haven't, you'll be surprised. So I also bricked these. I wanted them to have the same feel as the house. And then what I also did, I wanted it to look like some of the brick fell off. And so I also colored some additional brick, and I just stacked them on the side of the roof here like they had fallen off. And I put creepy cloth on here and lots of spider webs. And like I said, lots of spray. I also used the texture in the paint on all this where it's black, and I sprayed them the same as the Lindy Stamp Gang. With the Lindy Stamp Gang, you see the rust effect and everything, so same effect that I did to the house. And I did the bricks and everything the same on this side. So I thought that turned out pretty neat. The silver is done with the tape that you can get at hardware stores, you know, like for heating and air conditioning, just the like a little aluminum tape. And I just cut that to fit here, and I cut it at different, you know, angles on here, kind of just like it would be flashing on a regular house. So I did that with both chimneys. And then I wanted to use her little ghosts that she has. Her little ghosts, they look like this. I'll show you what some of these pieces look like. They're really darling. This is like, you get a whole bunch of these little guys in a package. So these are her little ghosts. And all of her items just look like plain chipboard like this when you get them. And you can then just do whatever you want with them. Here's, you know, little scary cat. She also has a pumpkin, but I didn't use the pumpkin for this project. I did use it on the mini album I did last. She also has, which I used this on my last project, but not this one. This is like a little, you know, witch's cauldron for her brew. And then these are some witches, like legs. And so, you know, you could put them in here like the witch had fallen into her own brew, which is what I did on the last one, which she had done on her book. These are the little hats. They're just so cute. And then she also has like little houses. So she has some really cute items. The other thing that she has is spider webs. And you can use this whole, or you can cut it into pieces. And so I used one of these and I cut it into 3 pieces and used it inside my house. And they're real gray looking. They look really cool. And I just put them like in the corners, and you'll be able to see them when it lights up. And I put spiders on them and spider webs and stuff like that, just to give them, you know, a neat effect. So she's got like all kinds of amazing pieces. I mean, tombstones, trees, cats. She's got the spiders, the bats, the ghosts. She's got houses, pumpkins. I mean, she's got a ton of really cool, cute Halloween things. So I wanted this to light up, but I couldn't figure out a good way to run like lighting around it or anything, because I have a lot of different battery powered lighting, but I didn't have any that had like a black cord or something like that. They were all like white or brown, and I just didn't have the way that I made it. There just wasn't a good way to run the lighting at that point, you know, like, and I hadn't really accommodated for like a battery pack on the back or anything like that. Now at Christmas I will be putting lights on, but it's a little bit different with Christmas. You can kind of run them along your garland, you know, along the edges and stuff. It's a little bit easier. So I was trying to figure out how I was going to light it, keep the roof on. So what I did was inside here, I taped these down so you could open these up, and I'm going to lift this up again just a little bit. You can open these with, the reason the little ghosts are here, which I think are darling, is that you can open these little lids, which are just, they're just on there with the silver tape. You know, I don't see them really having a ton of hard wear and tear. So they just open like that. And the ghosts have little edges to them that almost help kind of make it, you know, like click down like that, which was kind of cool. And inside these are little tea lights inside each one. So you can see, so I have 2 tea lights in there, and it's really dark in there, so it needed a couple of them in order to have enough light inside there to be able to see the things that I did. And just to give you an idea of some of the things that I did inside, one, there was the table I talked about already, and it has the bottles on it, so you can watch for that. And then back in this far corner over here, I made a straw bale, you know, like a bale of hay, and I wrapped it with jute. and cut it in a rectangle, just like a, you would see a little bale of hay be. And then I took one of my skeleton heads that I had. I'll show you what they look like. They're pretty cool. I got like a whole bag of these little gray guys. I love that they're gray. And you just, I just took one of them and I put, I colored him, with the color box inks that I had, the chalk inks. And then I put red eyes inside that too. And then I put, it's sitting on top of the straw, and I have blood like coming down on the straw. And then in this corner over here is a broom, which is broom that's made with the straw again and wire around it. And then I used a stick, like for a skewer stick, and just cut it off and made a broomstick for the corner. And then the lady's standing not too far from the broomstick. And then I took red alcohol ink and I just dripped it all over in the floor just to look, really creepy. And the bottom of the broom is actually red as well, like it's been sweeping up a bloody floor. So it's kind of creepy, but, it's kind of fun. It's Halloween. The next house will be, I do have another house coming that will be Christmas. So, in fact, I think my DT package got sent today, and there's another house in it, and it's going to be totally Christmas. And I have already gotten some of the items for it, so I'm excited about it. But I want to turn off the lights and show you what this looks like. I need to turn my computer because it is really, really bright. So I'm going to turn it so you don't see the light of it. And okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the lights and turn on the tea lights so you can see what it looks like inside with the lights on. One thing I also wanted to mention, there's a chandelier inside here that I made, and I actually made those using some crystal sprays from Saw's store as well. In fact, I think that they're on sale right now. And I just took 3 of them, and they're like little crystals that are in a, they look like they're in a bead cap, and I hung them upside down and made a little chandelier, and I figured that would reflect the light as well. So anyway, I'm going to show you what it looks like inside. I'm going to go ahead and turn on my little tea lights I have. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and I'll hold it up so you can see what you need to see. And I'm going to use a flashlight to kind of help with the lighting because I found that on video you can't get the lighting to show as good unless it's super strong, and the lighting is very, very sufficient in person, but in on video it is just not. It's just not enough. Even though, I mean, as you can imagine, 2 tea lights in this little square box is plenty in real life. It just doesn't show up right on video. So I want to show you the different areas that I have back here. So right there is the skull, and he's sitting on the bale of hay that I mentioned, and it's like it's bloody and creepy looking with the wax that I melted down on it. And then back there on the wallpaper, you can see the skulls and the red wax that I have running down the wallpaper. And there's the chandelier. You can see it kind of moving around. Over here is the lady, and she's draped in her creepy cloth and has her bling on her. And then back in the corner back there is the straw broom. And then over here, which I just absolutely love, is the table and the bottles. So you can kind of see those bottles with the wax sitting on them, poured on them, and there's the fabric on the table, and it's kind of dusty on it, and So I really like the way that that turned out as well. And you can just kind of overall see the path in and the straw and that inside there, and it's just got drips of blood, like, you know, from my alcohol ink. So it's kind of a neat walkway in there. And I wish that the video did show it properly, but it just, the way the lighting works with the video camera and against the lighting of the tea lights, it just does not come out, it just does not come across correctly. But I love looking at it like with the lights off on my dining room table, which is where I have it sitting, and you can see inside just perfectly, and it just gives such a haunted feel. It's just super, super neat. Now in this window, there's not a lot to see here just because the lady's back is there. You see the back of her, shawl that she has her cover up. On this side, it's the spider, but you can see the skeleton head back there in the corner, and you can also see the straw broom and so forth through the window. And again, in real life, you can see all these things so good with the lights because they are very sufficient and do the job. Except it's just kind of different on camera, but I am super pleased at how it turned out. It was so much fun to make. It was a very, very detailed, project. It was 19 process videos, and you know, just, I mean, quite a few hours of time, but it really was fun. And this will be a Halloween item that I have, you know, to look at for many years to come. You know, to get out at the holidays and make sure, you know, put my little lights in there and you know, have fun. And it's super easy to change out the lights. You just pull them out. You know, I drilled holes right there where the wick goes through and just stick another one in where that hole is, and it's good to go. So like I said, I love the fact I never have to remove the roof or do anything difficult to light it up from here going forward. But it was great working with the items from Sauce Store. If you haven't been out there and checked her out lately, go take a look. This is what I'm going to work on next. This is one of her, I showed you this earlier in the video. This is one of her storage items. This is going to be for me to hold 40 paint bottles, although I have a feeling I'm going to need a second one of these. And essentially, you know, it just goes together like this. And then I have all these pieces that are the shelves. And you have 8 rows, and they hold 5 bottles apiece. And so that's a really cool thing. I already ordered also the step shelves that she has for holding my liquid pearls and my stickles. And that will hold 50 bottles. I'm so excited about that because I have every color of liquid pearls, and that in itself is like 30 bottles. So I'm super, super excited. I'm going to continue to get the organizational pieces until I have everything organized in my craft room with it. And I love how she's designing it all because the step thing for the liquid pearls makes it so that you can see everything perfectly. Nothing's hidden. So it was, I mean, her ideas and her thought process as to what she did to make it happen were amazing. So that's, you know, it's so smart. So I'm really excited, and I saw the video and I went right out there and ordered it because I'm like, this is perfect because I'm right in the middle of organizing everything in my craft room. So this is going to be the next project that I work on for SAW. I am going to do a canvas for myself in between here. I'm going to work on this. I've ordered a house with my DT package to do a Christmas house, but then I'm also going to work on this project as well. Let me show you. I've got both of these, and but I'm going to do this tree. I believe it's going to be one or the other here. I've got several items to play with of hers. This tree is super cool. And I'm thinking of working on this next. Essentially, you just slide these pieces together like that. Really easy. And then just put these pieces in that make little shelves, and it has, you know, them all the way up, and then you can embellish at each level, and of course do your tree along the way. So really fun pieces there. So I would have to say that that's going to be coming up very soon, along with the Christmas house. I mean, the two of them would look great sitting together. And then I also have, this is one of the door shadow boxes. We have the sides to it and everything, so it sits out like this, and it has a top and a bottom, and you're able to embellish inside there and make a scene for yourself of, you know, whatever you're interested in. So really fun items coming up. Like I said, if you haven't been out to her store in a while, there's a ton of really, really cool items. She's just been creating like crazy. So the Halloween house was lots of fun, but I'm moving on to the next thing, and I can't wait. I'm really, really having a great time designing for her, and she's happy with what I'm doing, so it's all going well. So anyway, thank you all for watching, and I hope you'll go out and check out her store. Bye.